makeup competition. On the left side of the ring, we have Fenty Beauty. On the right side of the ring, we have Rephr Beauty. And we are going to put these two brands head to head to see which one comes up on top. I have another installation of my brand versus brand series where I do one brand on one side, the other brand on the other side of my face, and we are going to see which one is the superior brand. At least for the products that we put head to head. I do have a few of these already up on my channel, and I wanted to do one that was very popular brands, and I would say Fenty versus Rihanna, that's a good one. So I went through their products and I tried to find products that I felt were kind of similar to go head to head. There's a lot of nuances here that I'll talk about, but let's just go ahead and get into it. So on the left side of my face today, I am going to be working with Fenty, and then on this side of my face, it's going to be Rephr Beauty. So for primer on the Fenty side, I'm going with the Pro Filter Instant Retouch Primer, which the full size of this is $36. And then I have the Rephr Beauty Pore Diffusing Primer, which is $28. So we have an $8 difference here. Fenty Beauty is a more pricey brand, so it should perform better. We will see if they put their money where their mouth is. Now, I know how I feel about these products individually, but sometimes it takes putting the products side by side to really get a feel and comparison of how a product truly works. So it's always different at the end of these videos of how I think of a product. Like, this video has a way of changing my mind on my views on a product. So this Fenty one, this is their soft matte primer. It's not too hydrating, I would say, but this one is supposed to retouch the pores and kind of fill them in. So right here in this area, I have most of my pores here. This actually is not my favorite primer from Fenty Beauty. I prefer their hydrating one, but this one's pretty nice. I think it better suits oily skin, but the claims of this were similar to the Rephr Beauty one, which is also a pore diffusing primer. Now this one has more of like a clear consistency. This one to me feels more hydrating than the Fenty Beauty. It just glides across the skin a little bit better. I wonder how I would feel if I put my favorite Fenty primer against this Rephr Beauty one, because I do really like this Rephr Beauty one, but the hydrating one just had less similar claims, so I wanted to put similar claims next to each other. But truly, I feel like the Rephr Beauty creates a better base for makeup in that it feels more hydrating on my skin, and it feels smoother in terms of that pore diffusing as well. So for me, in this round, Rephr Beauty is going to take the cake. And if you're new to the series, I'm going to wear this makeup all day, and at the end of the day, I'm going to update you on which side altogether just looks the best and wears the best. So I'm talking about performance now in terms of quality and how it looks, but the ultimate test is who looks the best at the end of the day. That's the final point. Okay, let's go into foundations. For Fenty Beauty, I have the Soft Lit Naturally Luminous Foundation, and for Rephr Beauty, I have the Liquid Touch Weightless Foundation. Now I decided to go with this foundation from Fenty because, one, I don't even have their original foundation. It just didn't work out for me. It completely dried out my skin. But I was looking at the claims anyways, and I just feel like this foundation from Fenty's line is a closer match to what the Rephr Beauty line has to offer. So I'm using my IT Cosmetics brush just to buff this in. And if you're new to my channel, I'm obsessed with this foundation. It is my favorite foundation of 2024, period. So you probably already know where this is going, especially if you've heard my thoughts on the Rephr Beauty foundation anyways. So it's interesting though, because if I had put the OG Fenty Beauty foundation against the Rare Beauty. I really don't know which one I would prefer, but I know what I prefer this time around at least. And if Rare Beauty had more foundations in their line, I would have chosen one that I liked better. But, spoiler alert, in my opinion, Rare Beauty doesn't have good base products in terms of like foundation and concealer. So this foundation is a little bit old, I'm not gonna lie, but it's because I simply refuse to repurchase this foundation because I just don't like it. Now the tea about this foundation is it blends velvety smooth on the skin. It looks lightweight. It sits down as a beautiful foundation, but the wear time, it breaks up in like an hour for me. It starts to sit heavy on my skin. It begins to emphasize dry patches. So upon initial application on my skin, I always have felt like this just looked really velvety all over the skin, but this does not hold up with wear time for me. I've worn both of these foundations so many times, and the Rare one just doesn't do it with me. Now, I'm giving it a complete fair chance for today because less is more when it comes to this foundation. The less I apply, the less heavy it looks at the end of the day, and the blend of this is just beautiful. I see why people love this foundation, but on me, it just doesn't sit very pretty. But unfortunately, as you know, there's gotta be a winner in this round, and pretty easily that point is going to Fenty Beauty. It's concealer time for Fenty Beauty today. I am trying out their We're Even Hydrating Longwear Concealer for $30. And then for Rare Beauty, we have the Liquid Touch Brightening Concealer for $22. Now the Rare Beauty range is definitely more limited than the Fenty. Fenty has been around longer. They've produced a lot more products. If I had the original Fenty Beauty concealer, I would have picked that out because I do think that formula is more similar to Rare Beauty, but I don't have it because I don't like it from Fenty Beauty. So I have to acknowledge Fenty Beauty does have a slight advantage here because I've decluttered the items from Fenty Beauty that I didn't like just because they have more product and have more launches. They've had more time to get it right. Now this concealer, I like it, but it does not wear the best. Like between this and the original Fenty concealer, I really don't love either. This one is hydrating, but like I said, she creases. Not very good wear time. Now Rare Beauty, I don't like this concealer too much either. Trust me, Rare Beauty is gonna pick it up as this video goes on. But I said earlier, their colored complexion products for the base just don't do it for me. I am using the same brush, but it's fine. I wiped it in between. And I feel like the Rare Beauty has a little bit of a more velvety blend into the skin. Let's get close. The Fenty Beauty gave me more coverage and it looks more hydrating. And just from using the Rare Beauty concealer, just like the foundation, it does not agree with my skin over time and it proceeds to look dry and get really creasy. To be honest, really wouldn't recommend either concealer from either of these brands. There's just a lot better. But if I had to pick one, the point is going to go to Fenty Beauty because despite its creasing, my under eye does continue to look hydrated throughout the day, and I just prefer that. It's the lesser of two evils here. Cream contour. Now on Fenty Beauty side, I have the Match Stix Matte Contour Stick for $32. And for $26, we have the Rare Beauty Warm Wishes Effortless Cream Bronzer Stick. Now I'll have the shades down below that I use. I'm using Mocha in Fenty and Happy Soul in Rare Beauty. So I'm going to start off with the Fenty Beauty, and while I normally recommend not applying directly to the skin, this is going to show you the blend, and even though I highly recommend to go with the brush directly on the product, you're going to be able to see how the product works by applying it this way. The Fenty Beauty has more of a stiffer blend here. It's not quite as creamy as the Rare Beauty, But I do find the Fenty Beauty, if you're more on the oily side, you're probably going to get along with the Fenty Beauty better because it stays put. They do have a great range of colors, and this is still a very nice product regardless. But coming over to the Rare Beauty side, this, my friends, is like butter on the skin. This is one of the easiest to use bronzer sticks if you are a beginner in makeup and really intimidated by the use of a bronzer stick. This is one that I would recommend. You're not going to look muddy or patchy because of how easily this blends out. It does have a softer level of coverage. You get a little bit more bang in the color with the Fenty Beauty, which makes it more important what color you end up with. But overall, I've just always loved the malleability of the Rare Beauty. So even though Fenty is also very, very good ever since they reformulated this a couple of years ago, this is nothing to scoff at. I think that Rare Beauty has one of the best bronzer sticks out there on the market. Clean this off and put this on. So I'm going to be giving this point to Rare Beauty. But if you have oily skin, I do recommend the Fenty Beauty. Next category that we have is cream blush. For Fenty Beauty, I have their Cheeks Out blush. I'm using the shade Cool Berry, and this is $26, a little bit more on the affordable side for Fenty. And then on the other side of my face, I'm going to be using the iconic Rare Beauty Soft Pinch Liquid Blush in the shade Encourage, and this is $23. So we're going to go ahead and start off with the Fenty Beauty blush. These are nice. I like these. They're pretty easy to blend out. They, of course, have an incredible color range. I have more than just this color, but I over-applied that. That's my own fault. No, I mean, I don't have much to say about this. This is just like a classic cream blush formulation, and I like it. She gets the job done. And then on the Rare Beauty side, this probably is their #1 bestseller. A little goes a long way with this blush. That's my only critique. Believe it or not, I think they could go with a little less pigment. Even on deeper complexions, I've seen it have a little bit too much pigment. I mean, this isn't bad. You can work with it for sure. You just have to learn how to use it and when's the best time to use it. I really like this because it has not like a powdery dry down, but it has a velvety blend in, kind of similar to how their foundation and concealer is, but it just works better in this blush form. I also find it to be a little bit more flattering and smoothing on the skin than the Fenty Beauty. So I'm going to give this icon here the point. I still think the Rare Beauty is better than Fenty Beauty. However, Fenty Beauty is still very nice, but I really like the Rare Beauty, so I'm going to put this on top. Let's get to setting. For the full size of the Fenty Beauty Pro Filter Instant Retouch Setting Powder, that's going to run you at $36. And then for a full size of the Rare Beauty Always an Optimist Soft Radiant Setting Powder, that's going to hit you at $25. Pretty big price difference for those. Genuinely going in with this one without a preference. I'm not sure how these are going to stand up next to each other. We're going to do Fenty Beauty first. So I know both of these powders, they don't really work well heavily set. So I'm just using my Rephr brush and patting the powder on. I like how this one is it darkening the color underneath. But I do find this Fenty powder to be a bit drying on me. So it's not one that I'm reaching for almost ever on my own. It did an okay job with blurring, but like I said, for this one, I do notice it can be a bit drying for my dry skin. I know oily skin has a better time with this powder. Let's use the Rare Beauty now. I've always never really loved this one either, but like I said, I don't know how they compare to one another. So I'm just putting this in the cap. I'm using the shade Light here. I cannot tell which one I prefer. Like in terms of looks right now, I think I like the Fenty Beauty because I feel like it's just a bit more blurring, which is what I look for. But I know the Fenty Beauty is a bit drying for me as the day goes on, and I don't feel like the Rare Beauty is too drying at all. Let me get a closer look. The Rare Beauty is definitely looking more natural on my skin as well, whereas the Fenty, you can tell I put powder down even though it's blurring. It is a bit intense here. So for that reason, I'm gonna go with Rare Beauty for the win for this one. Now for highlight, I'm actually very nervous about this one because I have a deep love and connection to both of these. I felt it was fair to compare them. On the Fenty Beauty side, I have the Demi Glow Light Diffusing Highlighter, which is $40. And then on the Rare Beauty side, I have the Positive Light Silky Touch Highlighter for $25. So there is a significant price difference here, 25 versus 40. I'm not going in the price per grams or anything like that, but just the price at face value. Let's see. Now this Fenty highlighter is a new discovery for me in the last year that it launched. Like, you get a lot from it, but there's something about the way that this just blends so buttery into the skin, but she also provides glow, and it's super duper smooth looking, I feel like, all things considered. I'm using the shade Prosecco. Let me wipe off my brush. But the Rare Beauty has always been in my top rated highlighters ever since it launched a couple of years ago. So this one I feel like isn't as buttery, but it still has that gorgeous blend into the skin. It's a little bit more glassy looking on the skin as well. I've always loved this highlight so much, but it's very interesting to see these side by side. I do feel like the Fenty is making it look slightly more cakey in my makeup. And the Rare Beauty isn't doing that. The Rare Beauty doesn't look as heavy underneath, but I just love the glow of the Fenty more. So there are some pros and cons. The Rare Beauty is definitely lighter on the skin, but it also is more metallic. I don't know. These are different vibes, you guys. Like, this is, if I didn't have to pick one, this is a tie. Truly, I have no clue. I think, though, because the Fenty Beauty is making the makeup look a little bit cakey underneath, and this is like me being so picky, by the way, I'm gonna go with the Rare Beauty, but it doesn't feel right. But I have to go with one. So Rare Beauty is gonna win this round, but just know it was neck and neck. Now the eyebrows round, you guys, I can't lie, it's going to seem a little unfair, but I just need to give Rare Beauty the point for this. I don't own any eyebrow product from Fenty Beauty anymore. I have owned their eyebrow pencil in the past, and I didn't want to repurchase it because it dried out and then it also broke. The shape was weird, and I hated the little brush tip at the end. So the point for that's already going to Rare Beauty, and also Rare Beauty has the best brow gel of all time. I've never tried the Fenty Beauty one, but I just know it's not going to beat this one. But I'm just going to wrap it up in one point altogether since I technically haven't tried the Fenty Beauty Brow Gel. But I just know Rare Beauty is winning this round, so we're going to give them a point. So for my brows, I'm just going to apply the Rare Beauty on both sides. So we're not even going to pay attention to that for wear today. Our brows are going to be even with the brow category winner, Rare Beauty. What is the score right now? Oh my gosh. Rare Beauty is kicking Fenty Beauty's butt. That's very interesting. Like, I feel guilty about that because, you know, like the highlighter section was so close and this setting powder section is so close, and that's what really put Rare in the lead. Brows are done. We have a little bit of a battle of the shadow stick. So for Fenty Beauty, they have the Shadow Sticks Longwear eyeshadows for $25, and Rare Beauty has the All Above weightless eyeshadow sticks for $22. Not much of a price difference there. So I'm using the Fenty Beauty in the shade Sip and Sparkle. I find both of these to be good eyeshadow sticks. Overall, I prefer Laura Mercier. So I don't know what I'm gonna think. Like, the thing is, I like the Fenty range of this better, but there's one particular shade from Rare Beauty that is one of my all-time favorites. It's Well-Being, which is the one I'm using. Like, I just love this color so much, but I don't love the other Rare Beauty ones as much as I love this one, if that makes sense. So these are different colors, but it's just gonna have to do. I think the Rare Beauty looks smoother though on the eyelid, whereas the Fenty Beauty has a little bit more drag, and that drag is coming up on the eyelid, you see? It's just not as even, and it's more aging. Are we gonna have a blowout today? That's how it's looking, because, I mean, the proof is in the pudding. I like the Fenty Beauty, but, I mean, you know, I did blend the Fenty Beauty a bit with my finger, and I guess that makes it a little bit less smooth. Putting some underneath. Now, the Fenty Beauty is not as flattering as the Rare Beauty. The Rare Beauty is smoother and more even. Rare Beauty wins this one. Okay. So eyeliners, I haven't used the Fenty Beauty eyeliner in forever. I do have Rare Beauty eyeliners, but I'm not going to count this one in the competition because I truly don't remember what I think of the Fenty Beauty eyeliners. So I am going to use the Perfect Strokes Gel Eyeliner in True Brown from Rare Beauty on both eyes today. No points in this round. Now, this is going to be a good round too. I have two mascaras that I really, really enjoy. We have the Fenty Beauty Hella Thick Volumizing Mascara at $19. And then for $20, is that the mini one? Why is the Fenty? Anyways, Rare Beauty Perfect Strokes Universal Mascara. I like both of these. I don't know what I'm going to think of them side by side. Now, Fenty Beauty Instant Volume. It is a voluminous mascara for me. It's what I go to when I want my lashes to look very thick. Okay? Hella thick. The name it comes with fits it very well. And it builds up super duper fast. Like, do you see this? Probably not. My lashes are small. But lax in the length department. Rare Beauty gives a little bit more separation. A little bit lighter weight on the lashes, which is better for hold and curl. Gives a little bit more of a fluttery look. I don't know, guys. They do something different, the both of them. They really do. Now, Fenty Beauty is definitely quicker to apply, because if I do apply too much, it will get clumpy, but it gets so thick anyways. I'm so happy with it so fast. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to let these dry fully. I'm going to curl them, and we're going to reevaluate. So give me a few more minutes, but it's hard to tell right now. It really, really is. Let me know what you think so far. Let's curl these lashes and see what we are working with. Rare Beauty. Oh, that's beautiful. Fenty Beauty. That's voluminous. I mean, I still truly do love both. The Fenty Beauty can get a little clumpy, so I'm just gonna brush it out. Like, you can see the difference, right? Separation versus volume and thickness. I think I'm going to have to go, though, with Rare Beauty on this one. Difficult, but I like the separation just a little bit more. Okay, so we're moving on to lips. I feel like lips, other than the lip liners I'm about to talk about, was a little bit more of a difficult category in terms of getting things that were similar. But we do have lip liners. Of course, those are kind of the same. The colors aren't going to be identical. I was working with what I had. But we have, for Fenty Beauty, the Traced Out Longwear Lip Liner, which launched this year. They launched so much stuff this year for Fenty, $20. And then for $15, we have the Kind Words Lip Liner from Rare Beauty. So Fenty Beauty, definitely creamier. But I wouldn't necessarily say in a good way, because I feel like I don't have a ton of control because it's so slippery. This is Satin Panty. The Rare Beauty shades that I had were very peachy, and the shades that I had from Fenty were very brown. So they're not going to be super close. I gave away a lot of my Rare Beauty lip liners last declutter. So for Rare Beauty, I'm using the shade Fun. So this one, it has more drag. And it looks a little softer on the lips, which I think looks natural. Excuse my dried, crackly lips. Rare Beauty is definitely easier to apply. And I wasn't a big fan of these, to be honest. And I like the Fenty Beauty for their longevity, but I much prefer the application of the Rare Beauty. But let's do this test, see which one lasts better. Rare is on top, Fenty's on the bottom. Okay. You see, the Rare doesn't dry down. The Fenty, I told you, it lasts a long time, but look how much smoother the application is for Rare Beauty. But ultimately, I can get past the application issues. I think wear is super important with lip liners, so I'm gonna go with Fenty Beauty on this one. Now for lipsticks, both brands have a lipstick. Fenty Beauty, I wonder if they're getting rid of this line because these were on sale for $10, but they have the lipsticks, which the full price is $20. It comes in a case, they're refillable. I never ended up putting this in a case. This is the shade 08. And then Rare Beauty's lipsticks are also $20, the Kind Words lipsticks, and I'm going to use the shade Wise. I don't know which one I prefer. To be honest, I don't use either too often. Okay. Fenty's a little bit more blurring, more powdery. Rare Beauty is a little bit more creamy. Lipsticks, you know, I don't have too many preferences. I've always thought both were okay formulas. I don't really love the refillable aspect personally. I'm gonna go with Rare Beauty on this one. I like that it feels a little bit more creamy, but they're really kind of on the same level, if I'm being honest. I mean, I actually am liking how the Rare Beauty is sitting on my lips as well. I think it looks better. Okay, and for the final round, we have our glossy lip products. Fenty has a ton of glossy lip products. Rare doesn't really. So what I'm doing, for the Fenty side, I'm using their Gloss Bomb Sticks, which are $25. And from Rare Beauty, I'm using their Glossy Lip Balms, which are $20. So for the Fenty side, I'm using Riri, and Rare side, I'm using Nearly Mauve. They're quite similar in color. Different products, different consistencies, but I wanted to top my lips off with a hydrator. And to answer your question, I already know who's winning. Like, I could have gone with the regular lip gloss from Fenty, or I could have gone with this. The outcome is still going to be the same, so I thought it didn't matter. This from Rare is supposed to be super hydrating and glossy. Probably should have just done the Fenty gloss. But anyways, I find that this kind of slips and slides really quickly and it doesn't have the longevity that I'm looking for. So ultimately, the winner, no matter what the glossy product was, it was going to be Fenty Beauty. So that leaves us with Fenty Beauty as the winner of this round. Well, you guys, I was not expecting the results of this roundup to be so far apart from one another. But we're ending with, Mike, please. But here's what we're ending with. Fenty Beauty with 4 points. Rare Beauty with 9 points. This was a blowout. So just going head to head, I preferred the Rare Beauty 9 times and I preferred the Fenty Beauty 4 times. I'm honestly shocked because I do love Fenty Beauty and there is a lot from Rare Beauty that I don't like, but I feel like with Rare Beauty, I either love it or I hate it. Like, for the parts that Fenty Beauty won, I really disliked the Rare Beauty products, Whereas on the other side, for the parts where Rare Beauty won, I feel like the Fenty product was pretty close behind. But those are the numbers. Now, the last, final, and most important point, not that it changes the result, but it's going to be which side looks better towards the end of the day. And ultimately, just because I love the Fenty foundation so much, I think the whole base itself is going to look better. But I think both sides look very nice right now. I'd argue that the Rare Beauty side looks a little bit more natural and a little bit more fresh. The Fenty side is looking a little heavy and ashy to me, just because of the color of the concealer, the crepiness of the eye pencil. I overblended the highlighter a little bit, so Rare Beauty I think is even looking a little bit better now. But we're gonna see with the wear time. Here is how we're looking. I'm going to add the final results at the end of the day right here. And I just wanted to show you on my iPhone in front of my window front camera. This is how the sides look. Like, you can see the Fenty concealer. I told you it's hydrating, but it creases so bad. And anyways, Rare Beauty side, Fenty Beauty. I think the Rare Beauty side looks better. What do you think? Okay guys, final wear test. I've been wearing the makeup now for like 11 hours. Rare Beauty, Fenty Beauty. I actually asked my mom her opinion. She thought the highlight on the Fenty side was just giving. Honestly, both sides look really nice. My mom said both of the sides, they looked different, but they looked pretty evenly good. Honestly, I think both have worn very nice. Even though I talked bad about the Rare Beauty foundation, I think it's held up well today. I didn't over apply the product, which I think is really fantastic. So even the Rare Beauty foundation impressed me. I still think the Fenty foundation is having better wear. I am sorry, I'm moving the camera all over the place. It's just, I have no natural light. So what I also find is interesting, the Fenty Beauty blush actually wore longer than the Rare Beauty. I felt like the Rare Beauty faded throughout the day. I can't really pick a side that looks better. They look different, but they look the same in terms of level of wear. I mean, it doesn't matter at this point because Rare Beauty really won this round, but hold on, I gotta look in a mirror. This is with bad lighting, but let's see. Dare I say the Rare Beauty might look better. Rare Beauty creased on the eye more, and this one that round. Fenty Beauty held up better, but of course, well, I don't know. They both wore well, though, all things considered. Actually, like, looking, though, the Fenty Beauty foundation side, I think does look better. Let me know what you think down below, which side looks better. Anyways, that's all for my wear test update. So I hope you guys enjoyed my brand versus brand video. Let me know down below which side did you think looked better. In between the two brands, which one do you think is the best one? I would love to hear your thoughts down below. And make sure you give me some suggestions for my next brand versus brand video. What brands do you want to see in competition side by side with one another? A great one that I recommend to check out that I've done with today's winner, Rare Beauty versus Charlotte Tilbury. That was a good one. But you know what I also think is impressive? I mean, Rare Beauty was the more affordable option here, and I think they did a great job against Fenty Beauty. Generally speaking, Fenty Beauty is so superior in the foundation category. Go with Fenty Beauty, but other than that, Rare Beauty absolutely, despite its lower price, held its own and more, obviously. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video and found it helpful. Make sure you subscribe for more videos, and I will see you tomorrow. Will I or won't I? You're supposed to, but we'll see. Bye guys, have a good one.
It's delicious.